Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about my DBT group. This is for the third session. This is the second video that I'm uploading on this new vlog series that I'm doing. So for the third session, the first two sessions, like I said, I was really nervous and anxious. The third session, I wasn't that anxious at all when I actually got in the room. I actually contributed to the conversations and everything a lot. And I kind of raised my hand a lot and asked a lot of questions, and I communicated a lot throughout that group. So that's good. My social anxiety is decreasing in terms of that group. So for the third session, we talked about distress tolerance, and that's our first kind of unit in the group that we're going to be working on with skills and everything. So for distress tolerance, let's see, I have my book and it says distress tolerance. We first talked about how to survive crisis situations, and I think a crisis situation, it sounds like it's oh my god kind of situation, but it can be a minor crisis, if you're just having a bad day, or you had a fight with your partner or your friend, or you're feeling low. That's kind of a crisis situation in terms of this term that they're using. So survive crisis situations without making them worse. And that's what it says in my book. It says stop impulsive behaviors that make things worse. Know when you are in a crisis so you can figure out what skill to use, the skills that are in this book. Reduce extreme emotions quickly so you can think clearly again. Get through time without doing anything to make things worse. Stop addictive behaviors that interfere with a life worth living. So addictive behaviors like cutting, self-injury, drinking, anything along those lines. Things that you're addicted to maybe and that are problem behaviors. Accept the reality that exists. Replacing suffering and being stuck with ordinary pain and the responsibility of moving forward. Turn excoriating suffering into tolerable pain so that you can tolerate it and kind of get through your day. Lose willfulness so you can enter fully into life and living. Get unstuck from words in your mind so that you can find wise mind. Become free of having to satisfy the tyrannical demands of your own desires, cravings, and intense emotions. So this is kind of how to balance those intense emotions and reduce them so that you can think from a normal point of view in a neutral mode. Neutral would be a better word of saying than normal, because these emotions are normal, especially for people that have BPD. It's quite normal to feel a lot of intense emotions. So this is just how to reduce those, and I was kind of introducing the chapter of distress tolerance. So overview 1, crisis survival skills. So these are some skills that you can use to kind of survive those intense emotions that you're feeling. So there's I'll show you what we've learned so far is when are crisis survival skills needed? Crisis survival skills are needed when you are in a situation that is highly stressful, short term, that is not all the time, creating intense pressure to resolve the crisis now. So if you're kind of feeling oh my god, I need to do this now, I need to yell at this person, or I need to hurt myself, then that is most definitely a crisis situation, and that is your mind in emotion mind. Okay, so acting on your emotions or urges will make things worse. You cannot make things better right away. You can't afford to make things worse than they are. You have to temporarily tolerate painful events and emotions, because everybody has painful events or emotions that they're experiencing. So you have to kind of learn how to tolerate it in order to live happily and healthy. Crisis survival skills are not used for everyday use, solving all of your life problems, making your life worth living. because these are very short-term things. Like, it's something that would happen out of the blue or whatever. You're having a bad day all of a sudden. These are the kind of skills that you would use for that situation. So the first skill that we learned was the skill called stop skill. And stop is S-T-O-P. So for every letter, there is a thing for that, which I forget what that's abbreviation. No. Yeah, I don't know. But for S is for stop. Do not react. Stop. Freeze. Do not move a muscle. Your emotions may try to make you act without thinking. Stay in control. So literally for stop, you stop moving. Just freeze completely and relax. And that could be, for some people, if they're going to harm themselves, maybe sit on your hands. Literally sit on your hands. Or maybe if you're going to say something cruel to someone, shut your lips and just don't say anything. Even if they're telling you, why aren't you talking? Just stop. Literally stop. The next step for T, take a step back. Take a step back from the situation, get unstuck from what is going on, let go, take a deep breath. Do not let your feelings put you over the edge and make you act impulsively. So this would be the time where if you're with someone else and you're feeling this way, you would leave the room and go breathe and do your own thing. And the O is for observe. Take notice of what is going on inside and outside of yourself. What is the situation? What are your thoughts and feelings? What are others saying or doing? So kind of keep in mind all of those things. And for the for the P is proceed mindfully. Act with awareness in deciding what to do. Consider your thoughts and feelings, the situation, and the thoughts and feelings of other people. Think about your goals. What do you want to get from the situation? Which actions will make it better or worse? And so another thing that you can do is, this is really useful, I think. Anytime you have to decide between two courses of action, like for instance, am I going to cut myself or am I not going to cut myself, make a pros and cons list. So make a list of the pros and cons of acting on your crisis urges. These might be to engage in addictive, destructive, harmful, or impulsive behavior, or it might be to give in, give up, or avoid doing what is necessary to build a life you want to live. An urge is a crisis when it is intense, and acting on the urge will make things worse in the long term. Make another list of the pros and cons of resisting crisis urges, that is, tolerating the distress and not giving in to the urges. So, before an overwhelming urge hits you, or when an overwhelming crisis urge hits, make a pros and cons list, and basically, like for an example, why the pros of cutting and the cons of cutting, and the pros of not cutting and the cons of not cutting. Before an overwhelming urge hits, write out your pros and cons, carry them with you, cope ahead of time by rehearsing your pros and cons over and over. When an overwhelming crisis urge hits, review your pros and cons, get out your list and read it over again. Imagine the positive consequences occurring of resisting the urge. Think of the negative consequences of giving in to crisis behaviors. Remember past consequences when you have acted on crisis urges. Say no and then distract from the temptation. So, if you write down these pros and cons, when you're actually wanting to do this behavior, you can review your pros and cons list. So maybe you could have your pros and cons list on you at all times to help you do that. And then the next kind of a skill that we learned is called TIPP, T-I-P-P, and it's another one of those things. So this is something that they have highly recommended doing when you are feeling really stressed or upset, or you can't control your emotions and you're going to do something bad. It's changing body chemistry to reduce extreme emotion mind quickly. So this is something that you could do, and it will help you very fast. So the T stands for tip the temperature of your face. Use ice water to calm yourself down by changing the response of your autonomic nervous system. Put your face in a bowl of ice water for 30 seconds. Or splash ice water on your face, or hold a gel ice pack or Ziploc ice water on your face. So by using ice and submerging yourself in ice water or putting stuff ice water over your face, it reduces your body temperature, which calms you down. And the I, intensely exercise to calm down a body revved up by emotion. They really highly recommended doing jumping jacks. Engage in intense exercise, if only for a short while. Expend your body's stored up physical energy by running, walking fast, jumping, playing basketball, weightlifting, etc. P, pace your breathing by slowing it down. Kind of exhale longer. So if you breathe in, when you breathe out, you're going to want to breathe out longer than when you breathed in. Like see how much longer that was than when I breathed in? Slow your pace of inhaling and exhaling way down. On average, 5 to 7 breath cycles per minute. Breathe deeply from the abdomen, so like diaphragmatic breathing. Breathe more slowly out than when breathing in. For example, 4 seconds in and 8 seconds out. And then the last P stands for progressively relax your muscles, starting with your hands, moving to your forearms, upper arms, shoulders, neck, forehead, eyes, cheeks and lips, tongue and jaw, chest, upper back, stomach, buttocks, thighs, calves, ankles, feet. Tense, then let go. Relax each muscle all the way. Notice the tension, notice the difference, and relax. And I've tried this before. I've squeezed really, really tight when I was anxious, and then I kind of just let go. And it really does help. So this thing is something that is supposed to really work, this whole tip thing. And you don't have to do all of these things in one kind of like after the other. But if you are at a state where you feel like you need to do all those things, then like definitely do them because they're supposed to help. And I'm going to try doing this in a situation where I'm not stressed because they did recommend doing that, because when you're in a situation where you're not stressed or you're not in crisis mode and then you do this, later on when you are in that mode of like overwhelming emotions, you'll remember, hey, that was actually nice, and then you'll do it when you are feeling that way. So, yeah, that was the session 3 and the distress tolerance that we've learned so far. And so I will tell you guys how it goes with the whole tip thing, and I'll probably make a list of pros and cons as well as doing that. And the stop skill is also important that I'll do. I'll let you guys know how that goes. Okay, so I hope this was informative, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching if you made it this far, and I hope that this new vlog series helps people, especially people struggling with borderline personality disorder. I hope it helps you immensely. And please let me know what you think. If you have any questions, you can post it at the bottom or you can message me. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care. Blessed be.